So, sit down, relax.
Yeah.
Okay, you can, I won't stop you.
Distract anything?
You'll be fine, that's not your time to do it, Adam.
And we've got cups too,
Well, there's cups upstairs.
so. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Tea? A bit?
At that time, I was outside working up some numbers and trying to get hold of JR. I was told that.
Yeah. Did he show you any paperwork?
He told us verbally that the bid was $1,800 for the 4 windows installed.
$800 for 4 windows.
1,800.
$1,800.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive.
Well,
Right.
it's on the 3rd floor too.
Oh, yeah.
I know construction, and I know with the stucco outside wrapping around, et cetera, that it's gonna be a tricky job. And
Well, we do retrofit windows, so the stucco shouldn't matter.
we do, but for $1,800.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely gonna get nail fin.
Right. I mean, he was well aware that it was a low bid, so he just kind of wanted, something in the middle.
A comparison?
Yeah.
Alright.
Then it was definitely a weird environment. It was very small and boxes everywhere and very dark.
Look, you're going into people's homes, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's not like,
No, I mean, I'm not expecting to go into Palace, every time.
no, it's true. When I go to the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton, I have a different experience than when I go to somebody's house, for sure. But it should be treated like that, There's no excuses for, boxes, kids. These are all just circumstances, And I know you guys are new, this is not to beat you up about it, for sure. It's a control issue that takes some time, and if you're there with the client and you're distracted by something that's going on in their life, you can sincerely be interested in whatever's distracting them. That's a bonding moment. You can do that. Use that to your advantage. But then you have to move the conversation towards. Remember, they called us. They had a need, right? So they're looking into something. So I think it should be pretty self-evident that your goal should be get to the end of the conversation where. Did you get to pitch anything, or did you just decide to leave because there was too many distractions? How did it end?
Oh, yeah, we definitely pitched. Yeah. I mean, we could.
How long were you there?
An hour.
Yeah.
We couldn't get in and we couldn't get out because they had this big metal fence that wrapped the property with just a key. And we managed to get in because a car happened to be coming in. But
So how long were you in the physical residence with the person?
probably 50 minutes.
No, close to an hour. Which
any,
is
any comments on the amount of time it should take to?
Oh, it should be a lot longer. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not pitching, right? You guys are in the field. So what is JR? It should take as long as it takes, right? I don't think there's a time frame on it.
He didn't want me to measure. He's like, no, they're all the same. And I said, well, we're not going to assume that.
It's not even about, on windows, it's not necessarily about measuring the windows, it's about inspecting the windows.
Yeah, well, then I was trying to create a delay so we had the opportunity to build more of a bond, as I was measuring.
Right, but my point is, if he says he doesn't want you to measure the windows, right? You want to explain to them, and people are going to say that, do I need to go into this room? It's the same as the other room. Well, yeah, we need to see every window. We need to make sure what we're dealing with, as far as, the opening, the structure of the window, how it's going to be installed, access for installation. Maybe there's gaps, maybe there's leaks, maybe there's drywall damage, maybe there's a lot of maybes. But if you never see the window, you never know those answers, right?
Right.
I know JR had a plan, and I know most of the new people, by the way, Manny, are starting tomorrow. So this is going to be a little bit of ahead for you, and if it's confusing, like we're jumping too far ahead, I apologize, but I'm speaking to the room. So lean what you can. We'll talk in a little while.
That's fine.
Okay. So Who else had you had an appointment?
Yeah, two appointments actually. The first one we went there was in Compton.
Okay.
They rescheduled eventually. They did it Wednesday. They rescheduled for Sunday. Yesterday. I don't know what happened to that. We both not work on Sundays in Norma. And then we went to Rosemead for another one for installation. There was not one. The office called us. They said they just called them. They said that they had an emergency, so they had to leave.
Yeah.
Half an hour ago. So
Right.
I'm back. We went to Starbucks. We went home.
Well, look, let's talk about the, the first one a little bit. So they didn't want you to,
Okay, so when we got there, the guy wasn't home. So we knocked the door. The mom answers phone behind the window. Is Gary here? She's like, no, we went outside to get the kids from the school. It was Saturday.
That's so cool.
Okay, so we can reschedule. Do you want us to come back at 10:30? Is a good time for you guys? She's like, yeah, sure, come back at 10:30. So we're parking in front of the house anyway, so we can see what's coming outdoor. So the wife leaves in 20 minutes. Our mom talks to the wife also. She like, Gary's coming or no? Like, she's like, he's gonna be here in 10 minutes. Like, okay, sure. So we wait. 10:40. Gary comes. We knock the door. Gary opens the door with a plate of food in his hand. Yeah, barefoot. So how can I help you guys? I'm like, no, we're here from Circle. We had an appointment from Nettrack. He's like, no, I have to schedule. I'm like, when did you schedule? So he's like, in the morning, he told him we scheduled for tomorrow.
yeah, that could be someone calling before we're open, leaving a message on a voicemail, right?
Yeah.
I can reschedule.
Yeah, so they said we were scheduled for Sunday. So we just told Kalisa, we left.
Okay.
We went to the Rosemead.
I'm always curious about how, when you go to an appointment and reschedule, whether you chose to do it or whether they had already done it, or how that plays out, because there is a way to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes one or the two people aren't there that are on title, and there's a way to try and build rapport with the person that's there with you, so that they look forward to having you come back another time, or you pique their interest, or you find out what their hot buttons are. But that doesn't sound like your situation.
No, it was just like exactly like his plate in his hand. Oh, we scheduled, bro. I'm like,
Right.
for what time? He's like, for tomorrow, Sunday. Okay, sure. We'll let the office.
Okay.
Very nice to meet you.
Sure. I mean, what else can you do?
I don't think
I mean,
anything.
I didn't invite you in for breakfast, right?
You can just be real
It was
direct.
more like a lunch. I know it was like rice with beans and stuff. So I don't know.
Maybe you could do something like this, if I can just jump in.
Yeah.
So probably what happened with that one, is as you were driving there, they rescheduled, you must have been in the neighborhood, so the dispatch didn't tell you. Maybe what I do is, yeah, you called for that, $1,000 Costco card. There's only like a few remaining, so if you don't want it, I'll come back. But, today's probably gonna be the last day for that Costco card, the $1,000 cash card.
Is the Costco, because it doesn't show anywhere in the notes, in the dispatch notes, does it say anywhere that they called for the Costco card, or that's?
Well, the current ads are, the current ads are all Costco cards right now.
No, he's just saying, if you throw it at them, they're gonna go, oh.
Yeah, you're gonna throw it at them, you're gonna say, hey, this is only, available today. If you want me to come back, I'll come back, but, I don't think that's gonna be available.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe you could do, or you could say, like, hey, were you interested in that zero program, something like that?
Yeah, no,
Because
this
it's limited, anything to get in, and
Just see that from the first one, they didn't look that they were prepared for this one at all. Kind of, they were kind of surprised that we were there. Actually, like the mom was talking to me like this, and like, who the hell are you guys? And why are you here? Why knocking my door? So that was her vibe. Older lady though.
So she appeared nervous?
Yeah. And then when Gary came back, the wife left before. I don't know if I mentioned the wife left before we got in. Yeah, the wife left the house. Our mom talked to her like, "Was Gary coming or something?" Like, even she was kind of surprised to see us. Actually, I don't know. I know there was an appointment. I know there is because I've seen the notes that it's double confirmed and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think what Mike is saying is that when there is an appointment and someone has called us and it's been double confirmed, there's that,
Rattle their cage.
yeah,
Just tell them, hey, this is available today only.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want, you know, the $1,000 Costco card, we'll give you that away today.
Yeah,
It's available today. That's what they say, right?
yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's where most of the time they make an appointment there, they know you're coming. Sounds like it was a big family, somebody made it, somebody, you know.
alright, I'm gonna, Jared asked me to show you guys some videos and kind of discuss, what it is, but, is there anything about the appointments that, you guys went through, that you wanna discuss before we move on to these things here? Anybody else? You guys had one, you had two, right? Kevin, do you have one too?
No, I didn't have one. Oh, yeah.
We had role play Friday with the roofing and all, and that was great. And then, you know, we got the window appointment, so I thought, oh. So, I think you're gonna show product info today, so.
Some, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great,
No,
yeah.
it doesn't matter, it's not connected. So you can,
I can use some more help with that.
it's not connected.
I just went online, researched argon windows and stuff, and silver nitrate coating.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you take these, it's okay. It's not.
Yeah, I had a question about the ACs,
Sure.
So, because I know what you're doing, that goes by the size of the house, which is like
Yeah.
hours.
That's interesting, well,
That we just, what you mean, what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Right.
for HVAC, it's very simple to say, like, you know, a lot of times people come in and say, hey, you need a 3-ton, 4-ton, 5-ton system. What we're gonna do is,
very informative.
we're gonna provide you
That's
with
it.
the system that fits your home, based on what our technician says, right? So, but do you have a 4-ton system already? Probably it's a 4-ton.
Mhm.
If it's a 3-ton, it's probably a 3-ton. If it's a 5-ton, it's probably a 5-ton. If it's 2 4-tons, that's probably designed, and most easily replicated, you know, back to the original intent of the engineering, based on what the existing is, right? If it's brand new, if it's a cut-in, if they've never had HVAC before, obviously you're measuring all the rooms, you're measuring the height, as well to get the cubic footage of the property, and then you're gonna get a tonnage based on that, right? But even that number needs to be confirmed with the technicians, okay?
So pretty much just like the windows, you know, the next day is, you know, technician, product manager, they're gonna go on.
Yeah, we'll confirm everything with the technician to make sure that you're getting the appropriate sized unit for your home, okay? So, it's, let me log in here.
Well, actually, I have one more question.
Sure, go on.
Specifically for you, actually. I know you remember something like the same as cash for 24 months, and my understanding was that they have 24 months to pay off in a month, right?
Right,
Is there a minimum due payment for that?
no, there's, if it's same as cash, there's no payments for 24 months. If it's equal payments, no interest, because we do have an option that goes 5 years,
Right.
it's basically just whatever the dollar amount is divided by 60 payments.
So this thing, it's not payment, the same as cash, it's just like,
It's just same as cash, just pay it off in 2 years, otherwise you have interest accrued at 18%, and that's pretty steep, you know? If it's 24 months and a couple days, and they've decided to wait to pay it off, you know, they're gonna have accrued interest, and they're not gonna be very happy with themselves, you know, obviously.
like, can they pay something like this month, something?
There's no prepayment penalties. They can pay off whatever they want within that 2-year period. Yeah. So, does anybody else have the, I mean, we can go into, since you guys have a couple appointments and you wanna clarify any of the finance questions? I know we went through a bunch of stuff and your brains are filled with numbers and programs and different things, so, if there's anything that struck you that you're still not completely clear on? Yeah.
My question is, on the Hero and the PACE financing, I logged into the system already. Are we supposed to get certified for each program?
Good question. You know, for right now, you should.
Okay.
You know, the one with PACE funding is very long.
Yeah, it is.
What you need to do, did Grayson tell you what to do with that? windows
No.
here? You turn it on, you open it up, and you leave it on an unobstructed window, right? So don't open it up with any other windows on it, open it in its own,
Okay.
and it'll just continue to run, okay? And then, you know, you'll be able to,
Gotcha.
take the test, it'll run through 110 different
Yeah.
modules or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And it takes a while.
Yeah, it's, I was like, oh, yeah, I was looking, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I have 6 hours.
Yeah, you don't have to really watch it. I asked Masis to come like and take care of this here.
But you'll know the answer, so from whatever they say, you'll know, you're gonna have to watch that video, you'll know the
Oh,
answer.
really? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks for letting me know that.
6 hours of watching.
Yeah, it's pretty lengthy, yeah.
Yeah. Too bad.
So, you guys are shooting videos on here?
I gotta go to yoga before I use this thing.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
Where's my mouse?
Kind of all over the place.
Alright, okay. What do you think about the video, like the Safecal video and then the Energy video? That's good, aren't they?
Good, I mean.
They're not that long either, too.
No, I mean, JR said that he wanted me to go with you. I
Yeah.
don't know why you weren't able to.
Cause I didn't have a shirt, that's right.
Oh, okay.
I wanna, cause they had the right size. I mean, they had an extra large, but it was a little bit tight.
Yeah, cause he wants us to partner up.
You and I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that's cool.
So-
Yeah, I'd like to go out with you. I think we can fit off each other pretty well.
Right, no, exactly.
It would be nice to get some Spanish with my customers. Talk to the Spanish.
You speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I went on a, it was funny because my manager in Solar City was really winded.
Mm-hmm.
And he like, sometimes he just like out talk the sales. So, he'd wanna go out with me on a sale, I on a point, but I told him, Spanish speaking, he's like, oh, okay, you can do it on your own then. That's like, great.
No, it's a big asset.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially with Spanish,
What is it at?
you have to
Learning
really
is
take your
that
time and go report them, you know, can't just jump in the press.
Oh,
Hey Grayson.
Looks like we're missing some people, huh?
Okay, what's going on?
Look at Byron. Byron was MIA.
There's some earlier today.
He did?
Yeah, I mean, he was here. I don't know.
Maybe he's decided not to
Oh,
quit left.
I'm actually doing a little training right now because you're on the show, so, gonna give you, yeah,
So have you had Singaporean kaya toast?
What's that?
Singaporean kaya toast?
you want the light off back there?
yeah.
I'm sorry, can I hear
Have
you?
you tried Singaporean kaya toast?
I haven't.
You should try kaya toast.
Where's the switch? Is
What
this
is
it right
this?
here?
No, I got it, I get it.
Oh.
It's like with a coconut spread. They have it in like most of the Asian.
Hey, thanks for bringing the cups down, Evan.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Alright, so, we're gonna start just watching a few product demos, we'll watch them, we'll stop, ask questions, answer questions, you know, you're gonna be, you should have already seen some of these things,
Mhm.
right? So we'll stop them along the way, stop me if you have, again, if anything pops up that you have a question about, let's address it right here. For the, because everyone else in the group probably has a question too, so, let's just make sure you can hear everything.
For greater energy efficiency, choose the argon gas option. We fill the space between the glazing layers with argon gas to reduce conduction heat loss, because argon has a lower conductivity than air. Argon also reduces convection losses because it is heavier than air and suppresses gas movement between the glazings.
Has anyone seen this?
High-tech glass delivers year-round comfort,
I watched
whether
this
it's
weekend, but I
20
need to watch it
below
again.
or 110 in the shade. During the winter, low E square 272 reflects heat back into the room, increasing insulating performance by 96%. In summer,
Write that down.
it rejects the sun's heat and blocks 84% of damaging UV rays. Not only does this coating provide maximum efficiency to your home, it helps protect your valued possession from fading. This sealed unit is filled with argon gas, increasing the thermal efficiency and qualifying it for Energy Star certification in North America.
Right, that's just an example of argon, but we also, we use double strength glass. So normal single strength glass is what's commonly used in a lot of window manufacturing. We use double strength glass in the window. We also use a butyl. Sorry. That's couldn't resist. A butyl rubber spacer.
Butyl rubber's not in today.
God, you. So butyl rubber is a very sticky. If you've ever taken like a windshield or any sort of car components apart, like on a door, anything that's sealed, it's very sticky rubber. And it's also non-conductive. There's a mylar spacer that's part of it. There's a lot of little things that go into it. It's proprietary. But what it does is, you know, you just talked about the low E coating on the window. Just talked about the gas in between the panes. The spacer also is a conductive piece. If you go to somebody's house and they're going to say, "I already have dual pane windows, so I don't need windows," right? And then you go walk up to them and there's a metal spacer between the two panes of glass.
Yes, I've seen it more often.
That's the most common thing you'll find. It's also the cheapest thing you'll find, which is why it's the most common thing you'll find. So they bend this aluminum spacer, right? So the outside glass gets hot, the inside glass is cold. There's a transfer of temperature between. You ever see dual pane windows with a fog in between the panes?
Oh, yeah.
Right? That condensation is caused by seal failure, conductivity of the glass to the metal to the glass between the inside and the outside. So our windows don't do that because they are sealed with butyl rubber seal. Okay.
I know you say they don't, but what if they do?
They're warranted for life.
Oh, awesome. Lifetime? 99 year lifetime?
No, lifetime, one-time transferable warranty.
50 years.
Yeah, and if they break, apparently we just come back and replace them.
That is true. So I don't care for this video, but because it gets confusing. So it's going to talk about diamond tier security glass. We don't sell security glass as a standard feature. Okay. Everyone repeat that. Do we sell security glass as a standard feature?
No.
No. All right.
I can offer it to you as an additional item.
This is crazy one, I think. Oh, video's unavailable, thank God. You ever seen the one where the guy like is beating up the door?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what you need to know about security versus safety glass. Okay? So there are certain codes with respect to windows, right? Building codes. There's something called egress. Does everyone know what that is?
Yeah.
Who said yes? Everyone else know?
No.
Alright. So egress means the house is on fire, I need to get out the window.
Okay.
Can I do that reasonably? Egress, exit. Okay? So the code for egress is the windowsill has to be several things. Alright, so first of all, just use this window as an example. By the way, this has a metal spacer in it. If you want to look at a dual pane window with a metal spacer in it. There's little perforated holes in the middle that are supposed to allow condensation to like go back inside, or that's what it is. Okay. Ours is, yeah. All right. So when you look at egress, three things to remember, right? First of all, it's about fire. So this is only for bedrooms. Okay. So the first thing on egress is the sill has to be 44 inches or lower from the floor. Okay. So the windowsill cannot be 4 feet high. Right? Because it makes it more difficult for someone, let's just say, less athletic than myself, or as athletic as myself, to get out the window. right? So it's 48 inches is, 44 inches is the windowsill height. It also has to be 20 inches wide at the opening. Okay? So 20 inches wide of glass opening, or, and 24 inches tall. Where the opening is, okay? So there's a couple different kinds of windows, right? There's a window where, like, if this was in half, one side moves and the other side doesn't, right? That's called an XO, okay? There's another one where if it's cut in half this way, one side, typically the bottom, will slide up. Sometimes that's called, well, that's called a single hung, but if the top and the bottom both move, that's called a double hung, right? So the top and bottom move. But either way, only half this opening is available to be jumped out of. Okay? So in this scenario, this window's large enough. I know this looks like 36, and half of this is probably 20, right? So as long as this is 20, and this is more than 24, that should work, right? Wrong. Yes, if you were doing the math and listening, but they also have. There it is.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Thanks for listening. It was a trick question. 5.7 square feet is the number. All right. So you take whatever this width is times this height, divide by 144. Okay. Whatever the opening width is times the height of the opening divided by 144 will get you the square footage of the opening. It has to be at least 5.7 square feet. That's your real kicker. So if you have a window that's this size, okay, and it's in a bedroom, there is a chance that you won't be able to use certain types of windows. You can't put a picture window. Can't get out of that, right? You can't put a window that has 3 panes of glass in it because the opening will be too small, right? So it's something to consider, that in the bedrooms you have to have egress. If you are, let's say you're in the valley, like San Fernando Valley has all these like 1960s, 70s sort of ranch style houses that are like, I don't know, what to call them, like really just awful architecture.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them. Like, some people like them. I guess if you own that house, I apologize for calling it awful. But in the bedrooms, there's like a window that's 24 inches tall, or 20 inches, or 18 inches. If they're tiny, and they go like 8 feet long across the top of the room, right? There's no way to create egress in there unless you open up the window, right?
That's a lighting technique.
That's what?
That's a lighting technique.
It is, yes. It is architecturally intended just to bring light in. It is not intended to get out for fire.
Right.
And if you change that window, you have to increase the size of the opening. Do we do that?
Only if we need to.
Only if we absolutely need to. If that's the only window we're selling, would we do that?
No.
And if I was 4 windows, probably no. Right? So I would stay away from that. Just say, you know, we can if we need to. But if the whole house is like that, if it's an architectural Brady Bunch masterpiece, right? Then there's the opportunity for you to replace all the windows, and we can if we need to. We'll pull all the permits that are required for building, open up the structure, make sure that the headers are correct, and then you have a pricing consideration as well. So if you come across that, call me.
Do you have to pull a permit for any window installation?
You do,
You do?
but not for all.
Okay.
There are some that you require, yeah?
Patrick, so in the bedroom, it has to be egress?
Every bedroom has to be egress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright, so I know I got on this topic because we were talking about safety glass versus security glass. So, security glass is basically a laminate that is applied to the glass manufacturing process that goes along with a safety glass, right? So safety glass and security glass combine to make security glass. So like a windshield, right? If I take a baseball bat to a front windshield, it's gonna shatter, but it's also not gonna shatter like the side window. The side window is gonna shatter, and all the pieces are gonna go in the car. The windshield, it's gonna shatter, and they're all gonna stick together like the glue, right? So the front window is security, and the side window is safety. That's a perfect example for it, okay? Oh, safety glass shatters, security glass shatters and sticks, okay? So, when do you need to put tempered glass or safety glass in a window? So, in a bathroom, you're typically gonna put tempered glass because there's usually the window is within a certain distance from a door or from a sink, or there's the opportunity for damage nearby, near a shower, people getting out, whatever. So they set this code. So in a bathroom, typically you're gonna get obscured glass and tempered glass. Also, if the windowsill is 18 inches or lower, right, to the floor. So measure from the floorboard to the sill height. If that's less than 18 inches, then the whole structure above that needs to be tempered. Okay? And tempered glass is an added fee, right? So that's why you need to know this, because in the end, if I end up getting one of these 1970s houses with 10 windows that should have been sold as tempered glass or safety glass, and then there's an added fee, well, I'm probably not going to take that out of your paycheck because that's an error, right? I will make the note that they did that on this one, right? If it happens again,
Yeah.
it shouldn't really happen. If you have a question, call, right? Take a picture. Once you've sold it and the walkthrough happens the next day, our measure guy is going to be like, oh, that's tempered, right? And he's, oh, this one, that means egress, right? So instead of being a single hung window, like that one looks like, that one wouldn't work, right? Obviously nobody's getting out that bottom hole there. But if I turn that into a casement window, does everyone know what a casement window is? So a casement window is basically, looks like this, a whole piece of glass. It just has a crank on it. So the whole window is potentially open, okay? So you can go to diamondtierproducts.com and click on windows, and you can see all the different types of windows. If you mouse over them, the operation of those windows show. There's something called a tilt and turn. So we don't really sell a lot of those. They're very specific. People don't ask for them. So if you see that on there, don't get confused. I wouldn't worry about it. If someone asks you what's a tilt and turn, just tell them instead of just turning, it also tilts. Right? So what the reason for that is, I don't know. It's pretty fancy.
I want the window to act like the TV.
Yeah, it says a lot, exactly. It actually is like a casement window in the way that it opens, but it also, I think it can tilt in for cleaning, so you can clean the outside pane. I think that's the only benefit that I've ever come across, so. All right.
So
There's lots of stuff on windows.
On Diamond Tier, do you offer all those styles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can make any window, by the way. These are every window we make is custom made for that opening. So if you've got a geometric or a transom, right? So a transom is a window that's like, there's a window, and then there's drywall, and then there's like a window for lighting purposes above a window. So and some of those are geometric as well. Octagons or, trapezoids.
Patrick, what's the added fee for tempered?
And actually, don't worry about the tempered fee. If you're gonna go to safety glass, then we're gonna add 30% to the price.
Okay.
Okay. In certain areas, if there's already, let's say, security bars on the windows, the customer has a security concern, it may be worth it to make their house more beautiful, more attractive, increase the property value, and add security glass on the windows, and not put the bars back up, right? But a lot of times, when we're taking bars off, we're also putting them back up. So, it's a shame, yeah.
You said, or I think earlier in the training, that typically it takes about 3 weeks to get windows?
7-day turnaround,
7 days.
yeah. 7 to 10 days is windows, from the time of measure and order, to delivery here. And, the delivery comes a couple times a week, so it could be, you know, depending on when the order goes in and when the, you know, the cutoff is for the completion of the project, it's 7 to 10 days, turnaround.
Okay. It's pretty fast.
It is pretty fast. If there's any kind of, egress windows being ordered, like for example, casement window I just explained, sometimes we order a casement window with an egress hinge, right, which means the whole window will roll out and then you can actually pop it out as well, so no part of the window is there any longer, you can just pop the whole thing right out. Those may take an extra 2 or 3 days, okay? And typically people like to have all their windows installed at the same time. Doors are very quick as well, so if you need entry doors. But if you add color, or if you add extra features like safety glass, security glass, it's going to be a process of you know, adding several days. Hang on 1 second, sorry. I'm multitasking today, right? Seriously? Seriously.
Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning. Feeling pretty special. Make coffee.
Hey, it's folders.
I bought a
That's
coffee
great.
machine over the weekend.
Nice. Was it that $19 Target one?
Yeah. Espresso machine. All right, let's go to the next one. Any other questions on Windows?
Is there an extra charge to change the color?
Yes, 40% increase. So, yeah, so here's it's a good question. I have 2 different window manufacturers that we can use. Diamond Tip Products is one manufacturer, private label. It's the product we primarily use. But if you have a commercial client or like an apartment building and you need to be competitive with that price at a different color, because sometimes apartment colors have HOA situations that are, you know, that's problematic. You can't just put in all white windows if they're all brown, right? Or all black, or whatever it would be, right? So, there is a color called bronze on the exterior of the window. It's a 40% increase, and it only is on the exterior, so the inside of all the windows are still white. And the windows themselves are still white. Do you know what extrusion is, right? So like, think about pasta, okay? So you put in the dough and you grind it and it pushes out this pasta in a certain shape based on what the little tool is at the end, right? So it comes out and the whole thing is shaped by being like silly putty, right? Goes through the hole, if it's shaped like a star, it comes out as a star, it's amazing, right? But that's an extrusion, okay? It's forced through. Then there's those windows and the aluminum spacers in between that you saw, that's a rolled aluminum piece that's then sealed together, okay? It's not made as one solid piece, it's made and then formed, right? Our windows are extruded, meaning they're all solid, but they're extruded vinyl all the way through, right? Am I confusing anybody with this yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Bear with me.
Maybe one more, huh?
I was just gonna keep going and then ask questions after.
Yeah.
Extrusion.
This is an extruded piece of vinyl. This is an end cap for a sliding door, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Insert outside screen, okay? So it's like an end piece. But what you'll notice on is all these chambers here are, there's a form, right? That looks just like this, and then the hot melted pure vinyl goes through this form, and when it comes out the other side, it looks like this because it's formed over these openings, right? So it's pushed through this machine that extrudes it, okay? The other part about it is it's all the way through, it's all the same color. So if you scratch this, doesn't matter how long you scratch it, by the time you get through the end of it, it's still the same color, right? So that's why you see the cutoff, so you can show that. Other windows are not that way. They have like a vinyl wrap on the outside, right? So there's some sort of aluminum that then is vinyl wrapped in order to like appear energy efficient, but inside it's metal, right? Or what we do, which I was going to explain to you on the color options. So I have another window which is a little bit more expensive in general, but when you start adding, I've got like 8 different color options that we can put on an aluminum cap on the outside, okay? Which makes it so you can almost match any color you want, pretty much. 8, it's the whole rainbow, almost. So, try and stay away from those colors. The only color that's solid all the way through is white and tan, okay? Any other color is going to be either a painted on external aftermarket piece like the bronze, which is basically dipped, face dipped, or the aluminum add-on piece that's put on top of the extrusion. Okay.
It's always greenish, right?
The glass has the appearance of a slight tint, right, because of the low E and argon fill. But it is sort of a grayish. You notice it more in a dark room or in a small piece of glass than in a large piece. Yeah. So it's what? People don't notice it when they're in their house. It's not like something that'd be like, oh wow, it's like a green tint in here. It's not like that at all. That window kind of looks like it, that sample window over there.
So there's no reflective coating on the glass?
Unless you want it. There is low E reflective coating on all the glass. They come standard. But you can also get what's called a mirror. So it's like people can't see in, but you can see out. Right? So, yeah. So you're dancing behind and no one knows. Yeah, exactly. Right. This guy.
Well, you haven't seen me.
So all these add-ons, now I'm a little bit confused about when we price it or when we do them.
All you need to do is if it's white or tan, it's the same price. If it's not security glass, it's the same price. Okay?
If it's not security.
Right. Yeah, you don't need to worry about if it's a casement window or if it's a, the only thing to be really concerned with is if someone says, look, I like this window here, but I want a bay window or a garden window or a bow window to be set in place, right? This is a large opening, right? So go ahead, if you want to put one window there, that's fine. But a bay window, a bow window, and a garden window are basically 3, 4, 5 windows combined together in a design that will cost double, at least, because there's so many more windows involved. And also, if they don't already have a bay window, right? That's the only time you want to sell a form bay window. If someone has a bay window, I guarantee you the angles and the dimensions of that bay window are not set up, it's a challenge, to be honest with you. These windows are not easy to do, and that's why they're expensive. They really are. They're pretty high. They can be like $6,000–7,000.
So if we get a bay window, should we take a
Go-
picture and call you, or what
Go
should
ahead
we?
and sell it. Yeah, go look at your price sheet and offer that.
Okay.
Okay, but we'll just make sure and set expectations after you've spoken to the installer, right? So when the technician is there on the walkthrough, ask them, will there be any concerns, not in front of the customer, okay, because you want to relay the information to the customer. You ask the technician to follow up on this window to find out if there's any concerns, because sometimes there is like roofing concerns, or the weight of the new window is so much more than the weight of the old window, and now there's structural concerns underneath. Or when they did it, they really Mickey Moused it, and they like opened up a window and there's no header, and so we open that up, it's like full-on construction site, right? I mean, I only mention it because I come across too many bays and bow type windows where they were added, like they picked up something at Home Depot, and they like, them and their two cousins got a couple of nails out of a shoebox, and you know, it's usually a mess. There's usually water damage and stucco damage, all kinds of stuff. All right, so sounds like you guys want more information on windows. We should probably have our guy from our manufacturer come and talk to you. Crew roof system, you guys,
I think we're good on that.
Yeah, we're pretty good,
yeah?
very much.
I mean, I can't speak for everybody else.
Now, let's see how long this one is. Oh, this is the whole thing. Did you guys all watch these? There's like 1 minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Okay.
How cool are they? They're not even wearing sound here.
The Total Protection Roofing System integrates engineered Owens Corning components that work together to address 3 critical areas to achieve a high-performance roof. Total Protection is as simple as seal, defend, breathe. Seal helps create a waterproof barrier. Defend helps protect against nature's elements. And breathe for balanced attic ventilation. Underlayment products are the final line of
make a phone call,
defense
guys.
to the home and the elements. Pro Armor synthetic roof underlayment helps protect against water infiltration that can cause rot, mold, and water damage. Pro Armor synthetic roof underlayment is strong, durable, and repels water, unlike number 15 metal. It's also light, easy to install, and contributes to safe working conditions. Pro Armor underlayment has a unique fusion-back coated technology paired with a non-woven surface that reduces the chance for tears which could cause leaks. Pro Armor underlayment is available in wide 42-inch rolls that cover 4 times more than a standard number 15 felt roll. Pro Armor synthetic roof underlayment comes with a limited lifetime warranty as part of the Owens Corning Total Protection Roofing System, giving you the assurance that all Owens Corning roofing components are working together to help enhance the performance of the roof. For more information about our Pro Armor roof underlayment or the Total Protection Roofing System, visit owenscorning.com/roofing or call 1-800-GET-PAINT.
Okay. All right. All right, thanks, bro. I'll give you a call back. So the sound on this is pretty awesome. Left-handed. Was that just played one 50-second video, didn't it?
Yeah. They talked about the Pro Armor underlayment.
Yeah, we don't use that.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. We use this one.
Weatherlock.
Well, high performance underlayment is called deck defense. The same thing. They're all warranted. This has a 50-year warranty on it.
What's the deck defense?
It's the underlayment.
Yeah.
It looks basically the same, probably
The Total Protection
sounds very
Roofing
similar to the
System
other one as
integrates
well.
engineered Owens Corning components that work together to address
It's like
three
probably
critical
the same-
areas to achieve a high-performance roof. Total Protection is as simple as seal, defend, breathe. Seal helps create a waterproof barrier. Defend helps protect against nature's elements. And
We
breathe
just
for
sold that.
balanced
It's the
and
same.
You
metal.
did, right? It's the same thing. They just call it
Underlayment products are the
Pro
final
Shield
line of
versus Deck
defense
Defense.
between the
It's
home
like-
and the elements.
sure that's the same one.
High-performance roof underlayment helps protect against water infiltration.
Alright. Yeah, I think the roofing one you guys have seen several times. Alright, so let's talk about HVAC here.
Yes. That would be good. 16 SEER.
That is just an article. Hang on. Alright, so you should look at this. This is on tips and learning tips and tricks, right? So just have this article. It talks about the top 12, and obviously the one we offer is the best rated in the world. So. You guys know who Ed Begley Jr. is?
Yeah.
Alright.
My name is Ed Begley Jr.
That's it.
I've been trying to live a sustainable life since 1970.
Huh.
So when I decided to build a LEED Platinum home as a showcase for the finest earth-friendly products and technologies, I decided to only look at the very best. When it came to heating and cooling systems, it immediately became clear there's only one choice: Daikin. Daikin is a world leader in the manufacturing of heating and cooling systems. More importantly, they conduct business with a deeply ingrained corporate philosophy to operate ethically and sustainably, with a stated mission of using knowledge, innovation, and technology to improve the quality of our lives and the quality of the air we breathe. The folks at Daikin are serious about doing things right. They've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in research and development and have come up with some exciting technologies specifically devoted to mitigating climate change. Each of us has a personal responsibility to do what we can to make informed choices which minimize our impact on the planet. Daikin is a shining example of corporate stewardship, and with their extensive line of well-priced, high-performance products, they make it simple to make great choices when it comes to heating and cooling systems.
My name is Ryan Lord, and we fabricate and install the official motorized garage door power screen of Southern California. Our purpose is to create and deliver works of art by providing a high-quality home improvement product. Hi, my name is Jason Lord. A motorized garage door power screen is installed on the exterior of a customer's existing garage door. The entire purpose of the motorized garage door power screen is to extend your living space by providing a shaded, comfortable, private, and pest-free environment.
Hi, my name is Brooke Lord. The entire process starts off with an in-home product demonstration. We bring a small representation of the motorized garage door power screen to your home and go over every aspect in detail. Once measurements are gathered on site for exact height and width, our fabrication begins. The entire motorized garage door power screen includes a horizontally mounted extruded aluminum housing canister at the top of the opening. Depending on the design of the garage door frame, a motorized garage door power screen can be surface mounted or mounted inside the jamb of the opening. Mounted inside the housing canister is a heavy-duty extruded aluminum roller tube. On one end of the roller tube is a Sompi motor, and on the opposite end is the pivot. The mesh is attached to the
I went with
heavy
Lucille.
aluminum roller
Dude,
with
we
a
did.
super duty belt
Oh my
system. The
God,
bottom of the mesh then
no,
enters
we
the
didn't even
bottom
talk
of
to
the house
anybody.
canister
The first guy we
and
went to,
attached to the
we knocked on the door, the wife was there, said, hey, you know, my husband made an appointment, you should be home soon, he's dropping the kids off at school.
The motorized garage door power spring
We
lowers
wait
the
there
ground
for like
with the
10 minutes, he
button
comes
and
back, we knock on the door. He's like, oh, I changed the appointment.
the color of the aluminum housing was
Drove all the way to Long Beach. We got one in,
It's so large, it's fun.
outside of Pasadena. So we go there, nobody's home, the door's locked, they just bought the house, so it's completely empty.
Yeah, I know. How much was that one?
And so when you talk to anybody, it's like, it kind of sucks, bro.
I bet that happens.
You can't go wrong with Nike. It's good, good. Yeah.
We'll drive out the
I
same.
heard you guys had an appointment, you guys did something.
So Ed Begley actually came to our office and spoke to us because of the volume of Dykers that we do.
Oh,
Yeah, it was one of the highlights of my
I
life.
want to know the percentage. I want to ask.
Really? He's like a
I asked
good
in,
kid.
I asked in the meeting.
Well, no, I'm
They
joking.
never tell you. Of course they're not.
He did.
I'll get there someday.
Yeah, right. No way, bro.
He was on like some show in the 80s where he stocked
$30,000.
Yeah, I just want to get one a month when I first.
How
Yeah,
often do you think
that's good
about
enough.
the central heating
For
and
sure.
cooling system in your home? For the majority of homeowners, the answer is never, at least until the day when the system doesn't operate properly. Then it becomes the number one thing you think about as your family's indoor comfort is in jeopardy. Many homeowners, as well as professional HVAC governing bodies such as ACCA, advise that it's best to rely on two things when making a smart decision to install a new, energy-efficient central heating and cooling system: the local contractor who will be installing the new system and the manufacturer of the system. When you choose the Daikin brand, you get both automatically. Daikin is the largest manufacturer of heating and cooling systems and refrigerants in the world. Daikin's global experience is a key driver that reinforces the brand's product quality, from design to manufacturing. Product quality is enhanced through two channels: people and process control. Daikin employees receive continuous training to ensure that they have the best skills to build outstanding heating and cooling systems. Further, they are tested frequently to make certain that their skills are advancing to keep pace with current technology. With the Daikin brand, manufacturing process controls include component scanning, sub-assembly scanning, automated controls, and many stages of inline testing to provide the best product possible. The Daikin organization believes that it's best to invest in the local communities where its products are sold and installed by Daikin Comfort Pros. Job creation is an essential component of the Daikin brand success. Daikin brand residential or unitary heating and cooling systems are assembled in manufacturing facilities located in Texas and Tennessee, consistently creating new jobs in North America. The facilities are ISO 9001 and
Right, so
ISO
look,
14001 certified.
He's very
As a
entertaining
proud
and everything, but
partner
I'm
of
gonna
Habitat
stop.
for Humanity, Daikin gives support to local families involved in this organization
As a matter of
through
fact, it's
monetary
confusing me
donations
that,
and
because
volunteer
it
labor
starts
from its
mentioning about 12
employees.
years warranty for the,
But-
that I think you offer 10 years, no?
Yeah, so look,
12 years labor parts, 99 for something else.
yeah, so here's what, this is for your information. This is not necessarily a sales tool. This is more about, everyone keeps asking, I need more information on the products. I want to be more comfortable with the products. When you talk, there's this huge umbrella that encompasses what we do. And what I mean by that is, does anybody know the brand of air conditioning system that we sell? Franklin. Okay. What is Franklin?
Daikin.
It's Daikin, right? It's a private label, in a joint agreement between, the Goodman, which is also a Daikin brand, Armana, which is also a Daikin brand. So there's components of all those three systems, Franklin, Goodman, and Armada. They're all similar, manufactured from Daikin, manufactured in the US, or not manufactured, but constructed in the US in some cases. And so, look, there are bits and pieces of everything. When you talk about why we are where we are, it's because we have the ability to offer one of the longest warranties in the industry, because we're going through one of the best, most reputable companies for the manufacturing piece of it. The windows. The windows are called Diamond Tier windows. They're made by a company called Green World. Okay. I also have a window that's manufactured by Simonton, okay, which instead of being private labeled, will have no label on it, right? But the manufacturers only do that when you produce a certain volume of with them. They're like, okay, well, now you can have your own brand and different warranty structure, different pricing structure. There's a lot of things that go into it. But basically, the reason why I wanted you, the reason why I would want you to watch these things is for your own knowledge, to understand that the pieces and components of what we're offering are the best in the industry. Owens Corning is Owens Corning, and we're not going to rebrand Owens Corning. We are a preferred contractor with Owens Corning. That's how we're able to get a warranty longer than what they sell. We also have to have certified Owens Corning installers, so they all have to have gone through training. You guys can also go to the factory. I don't know if you were here when Eric was here last time talking about Owens Corning, but there's a factory tour that we're going to be setting up for all the guys that are in the field, so they can go and actually see the process of manufacturing and understand what goes on somebody's roof. So I'm going to see what other videos John put in here and asked me to show for you. Solar panels?
Yeah, solar panels.
Nothing on solar?
What kind of panels do you use?
So these are not, it doesn't look like it's a manufacturer other than Solar Edge, but how solar panels work. This may be one that you could show to a homeowner. I don't know, I haven't seen this one, honestly. From Ted.
The Earth intercepts a lot of solar power, 173,000 terawatts. That's 10,000 times more power than the planet's population uses. So is it possible that one day the world could be completely reliant on solar energy? To answer that question, we first need to examine how solar panels convert solar energy to electrical energy. Solar panels are made up of smaller units called solar cells. The most common solar cells are made from silicon, a semiconductor that is the second most abundant element on Earth. In a solar cell, crystalline silicon is sandwiched between conductive layers. Each silicon atom is connected to its neighbors by 4 strong bonds, which keep the electrons in place so no current can flow. Here's the key. A silicon solar cell uses 2 different layers of silicon. An N-type silicon has extra electrons, and P-type silicon has extra spaces for electrons, called holes. Where the 2 types of silicon meet, electrons can wander across the p-n junction, leaving a positive charge on one side and creating negative charge on the other. You can think of light as the flow of tiny particles, called photons, shooting out from the sun. When one of these photons strikes the silicon cell with enough energy, it can knock an electron from its bond, leaving a hole. The negatively charged electron and location of the positively charged hole are now free to move around. But because of the electric field at the p-n junction, they'll only go one way. The electron is drawn to the n side, while the hole is drawn to the p side. The mobile electrons are collected by thin metal fingers at the top of the cell. From there, they flow through an external circuit, doing electrical work like powering a light bulb, before returning through the conductive aluminum sheet on the back. Each silicon cell only puts out half a volt, but you can string them together in modules to get more power. 12 photovoltaic cells are enough to charge a cell phone, while it takes many modules to power an entire house. Electrons are the only moving parts in a solar cell, and they all go back where they came from. There's nothing to get worn out or used up, so solar cells can last for decades. So what's stopping us from being completely reliant on solar power? There are political factors at play, not to mention businesses that lobby to maintain the status quo. But for now, let's focus on the physical and logistical challenges. And the most obvious of those is that solar energy is unevenly distributed across the planet. Some areas are sunnier than others. It's also inconsistent. Less solar energy is available on cloudy days or at night. So a total reliance would require efficient ways to get electricity from sunny spots to cloudy ones, and effective storage of energy. The efficiency of the cell itself is a challenge too. If sunlight is reflected instead of absorbed, or if dislodged electrons fall back into a hole before going through the circuit, that photon's energy is lost. The most efficient solar cell yet still only converts 46% of the available sunlight to electricity, and most commercial systems are currently 15 to 20% efficient. In spite of these limitations, it actually would be possible to power the entire world with today's solar technology. We'd need the funding to build the infrastructure and a good deal of space. Estimates range from tens to hundreds of thousands of square miles, which seems like a lot, but the Sahara Desert alone is over 3 million square miles in area. Meanwhile, solar cells are getting better, cheaper, and are competing with electricity from the grid. And innovations like floating solar farms may change the landscape entirely. Thought experiments aside, there's the fact that over 1 billion people don't have access to a reliable electric grid, especially in developing countries, many of which are sunny. So in places like that, solar energy is already much cheaper and safer than available alternatives like kerosene. For say, Finland or Seattle though, effective solar energy may still be a little way off.
I'm not sure what year that was. Seems like a few years ago, wasn't it? It's hard to tell with the animation. It should show post date, right? It should.
Are all of our solar panels on the grid, or are some of them off the grid?
No, everything is interconnected.
On the grid?
Yep. I mean, we can do battery backup systems, and we can do like ground mounts and things of that nature that some people request, but when it's one-offs, it typically just messes with your business model.
What's a one-off?
A one-off means like we did 1,000 this way, we did one that way. That one becomes very expensive because it's one-off of what we normally would do. That's all I mean. It's like, if it's the rule, then we can actually put it into the business model and give you guys pricing that makes sense. But if it's something that is a battery backup system off the grid, I guarantee you that there are other companies out there that are going to be able to do that better, because I've never done one. So.
The panels are 300 watts?
Up to 310. You have choices within the panels sometimes. You know, we're always negotiating with our panel manufacturers to get the most efficient.
So 3x5, I think.
3x5 is typical. So right now I use LG, QCell, Canadian Solar, and Solar World. Those are the 4 manufacturers that we can use. Canadian Solar typically is the best overall as far as rating, installation, ease of use. Our technicians typically prefer them, and they look nice. Customers like them, so and they're 300 watts. Yeah, no, they're made in Canada.
You said LG, Solar World, Canadian Solar, and what else?
QCell.
And then on figuring out how many panels they need.
That's a whole day.
Okay. Sure.
No, I'll give you the gist of it. I think I did last week.
You did, but yeah.
So, get their electric bill, get 12 months of usage, have them go online, and for Southern California Edison, I think you can click on something called your green. It has something energy efficiency with it. You just click on it, and it shows your 12 months usage, right? And you just print it out, or they can email it to you. Okay. If you're doing electric bill, print out all pages of the electric bill, or take photocopies, pictures rather, of all pages, front and back, of a electric bill. LEDWP is a lot more complicated because it's not just power. You know, it's like sewage and trash and water all wrapped up into a 2-month bill. And so you could be like, wow, they're spending $800 a month. And you're like, oh, that's 2 months. Oh, that's not even, it's like $100 in electricity or something. You know? So just be aware of the overall kilowatt hour usage per month. Yeah.
How much do we charge per kilowatt hour?
We don't. We charge per panel.
Oh, per panel. How much is that?
Yeah. It's $2,040 per panel. But that includes electric panel upgrade up to a 200 amp panel and all the inverters, connections, installation, warranties, everything.
How long is the warranty?
25 years.
So no price per watt at all, just per panel?
Just per panel. Yeah.
You said it includes the warranty, installation?
It includes everything, yeah.
And then how much is the battery backup?
We don't do that.
Oh, we don't?
You said you have to get a minimum of 6 panels, or what was the number you said, 12?
12.
12, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah. Look, if you're at somebody's house and they're buying a brand new roof and they just want 6 panels, then maybe we can do it. The problem is that if they need an electrical panel upgrade and they need a meter spot and they need inverters, everything they're going to need for a solar system to function properly, 6 panels is really just not going to.
No profit left there.
I'm not even gonna be able to get. I may not be able to get one of my techs to go out there for 6 panels because it's not worth their time to go install 6 panels. Right.
What's the warranty on the inverter?
20 years.
20 years. Okay.
And we cover the roof warranty as well, right? Like, let's say that we put the panels there and maybe they had a roof leak maybe 3 years later, would that be covered?
Yeah, it's the roof shouldn't be affected by the solar panel installation. They're putting footings in underneath. So there are some rules with respect to adding solar panels. They have to have, they can't have more than 2 layers. In some cities, 1 layer of roof. The roof life has to be more than 5 years. So sometimes they need to replace the roof in order to get panels. Most people don't have 5 years left on their roof, to be honest with you.
And we don't do that for them. They have to do that, and then we install the solar.
We will do it, sure.
We'll just include it with the cost.
Yeah, we'll just give them solar roof. Yeah.
Do we install solar on like a flat roof or
Sure.
a rock roof?
On a rock, sure. Yeah, any kind of roof is fine, even ground mount is fine.
What about sheet metal or whatever? Like a sheet metal type of roof?
It really doesn't matter what the material is as long as it's an actual structure. So, yeah, there's no exclusion on tile or clay or.
That's good.
The only thing is wood is California shake.
Yeah.
Mm.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Anything called Cal shake, we stay away from. Okay? There was a class action lawsuit against Cal shake. As long as no one steps on those tiles, they're like a 100-year roof. I mean, they're gonna last. But as soon as somebody touches one, they disintegrate.
If they have an unpermitted structure, could we install it on that?
No. We don't do anything on unpermitted structures because we pull permits, and as soon as we do, the inspector's gonna say, knock that down.
So we just put it on the ground.
Well, they're still gonna come out and probably see the unpermitted structure. So, if you're at somebody's house and they have unpermitted structures, before you decide to do something, understand that sell it, offer the customer what they need, but it may be a production turn down. Because I'm not gonna do a roof job that is attached to an unpermitted structure, where I can't, if they're married together, okay? If I'm doing a roof and there's an old roof and a new roof, and the new roof is on an unpermitted structure, right? A newer roof that still needs to be replaced probably, I can't do anything with the unpermitted structure.
Yeah.
I can sometimes, pull a permit for only the permitted section. And when the inspector comes out, I can say, we're only doing this section of the roof. And they will walk around and inspect that section of the roof. But it depends on the city. If you are in I don't know. If you're in Inglewood, the guys are great. City inspector in Inglewood is fantastic. Every single one of them. They're like helpful. They don't want to like red tag anybody. They like make a suggestion. Hey, you're improving your home. You're bettering your home. Let's pass off on this piece, right? Because that's what you're doing. Hey, you need to take a look at this. It's not structural. They'll make. But if you're in Compton, I don't know what the deal is. City of Compton does not. They don't mess around with. I had a nice lady. I hate to tell the story, but I'll tell it anyway. It's very sad. She was an abused spouse who ended up going to college after she split from her abusive husband, got her nursing degree, ended up raising her kids by herself, renting a house for 20 years, right? Saving money, finally buys her first house after her kids are like going to college now. That's how long it's taken. She's finally buying something for herself. And it was a beautiful home, really interesting, very like, really steep roof, steeple kind of on both sides, and just really cute. And on the back of it, it had this huge room, probably half the size of this, right? Wow. That was an add-on to the house.
Sunroom, yeah.
No, an add-on, not a sunroom.
Oh, okay.
Which was not permitted.
City inspector came out like 2 months after she bought the house, after it passed inspection from the realtor sent an inspector out, okay? The realtor who sold the house to her sent their own inspector, passed the final inspection on the purchase, and she went out, and the whole thing had to be torn down.
That's crazy.
Wow.
You want to sit in front of somebody and have them tell your story, and then it's like miserable, right? So we obviously, and they did so much stuff wrong there. I actually ended up doing extra work for that. Like there was a chimney that they added. So there was how do I put it? Like what would have been like just a driveway, no garage, right? And maybe a garage in the back, like years ago. But she didn't want that. She wanted a garage just off the front of the house. So at one point she added on a garage. Well, they just kept the back of the fireplace in the garage, so it's only barely enough room for one car to get by. But it worked for her, okay? So there was a lot of labor involved in this, I'll tell you. We ended up taking out all the see, the problem wasn't the chimney in the garage. The problem was that the chimney in the attic was falling.
Oh.
Because whoever put the roof on before, they knocked off the chimney off the top and left everything inside of the attic space still falling. So I went all the way down to the ceiling, tore everything out, because we had the roof open, right, because we're replacing all, so it just made sense to do it then, because that way I could get it out of the attic and tear it off. But, I mean, we didn't have to do that for her. That's not part of her roof job. But we did. So, and my guys were not necessarily happy with me, but it all worked out. So yeah, I try to stay away from unpermitted structures just in general, but sometimes you just need to help people, but I have a client who, he is, sad, again, too many sad stories, maybe I'm a sucker, but his son has been unable to care for himself for the last 4 years. He's 87 years old, he's got 4 kids, and so for the last 4 years he's had one son, his youngest, who's been basically living in that. So They added on a room in the back, added on another room in the back, and basically have 2 more bedrooms, bathroom, and facilities to take care of, right? But all unpermitted structure, and the roof is leaking in the back. So, he didn't want anybody else to do the roof. We did his whole roof, but what my roofer did in talking to the guy was to go back on his own time and fix the whole back, basically re-roof the whole back of that house. That was an add-on. So we pulled the permit, had the inspection done, finished the front of the roof. Then I pulled away from there with the whole job, got everything signed off on for the financing, and then he went back like a week later and did the back of the house for me. But never closed out his final permit on the property so that if he needed to, you know, he could do that. But we also didn't want inspectors coming to the house.
Right.
Right, so, but for that customer, that was what was best for them. Normally, some finance companies and some projects don't require permits, some don't require final inspections, some do, some don't. Make sure that we're always gonna try and make sure that, every permit is pulled and every project is satisfied, because it's code, first of all. It's the only way to do business. There are exceptions where things have to be done. You know, if you're helping out a customer and someone's gonna do something outside of work, right? And I think that's probably the human thing to do. But in any event, I'm not gonna suggest you do that. So if you come across anything that is unpermitted, we need to make sure that we stay away from that, just in general. Okay. All right, any questions on that stuff? I think we've hit 11:30 and, I'm sorry, 10:30, excuse me. Let's see what the videos we have here. Solar Edge inverters. All right. The worst hailstorm ever. You ever seen that one?
No.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
actually.
What's that?
This video.
Oh, you did, really? But they're not covered in hailstorms, huh? The panels aren't covered in hailstorms. And golf balls, golf course.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's crazy. That's the manufacturer solar world? What? Yeah. That was panels you guys sold?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. That's crazy, man.
They were priced really high too, though.
Oh, they were? More than 2040 panel?
I think so, yeah. It was $8 a watt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Solar World. Nationwide? Solar World's nationwide.
I think so.
Pretty interesting.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I got that video on my iPad. You know, do something showing solar.
Getting some panels?
Yeah. Start to own a house.
Yeah, if I had a house, I'd put them on, sure. I think even all the apartments and condos should have one too.
Yeah, I think they'll be heading that direction.
They should offset the electric utility company, you know?
Was that pretty amazing how?
That was.
how,
It was very impressive.
So that's one from Solar World. They're all basically similar, right? If they're high quality, Canadian Solar, Solar World, Q-Cell. Some of them are a little more durable, longer warranties, but that's why I was telling you that the one we use has kind of the best combination of everything, right? So, I'm getting much better at doing this way. Backward scrolling. All right. Cool Wall. So it's not paint. It's Tex Code of America. Have you seen the video from there?
Yes.
Did Sean show this?
Oh, I don't know.
2 minutes long.
Textured Coatings of America has been the leading manufacturer of
Take a look.
infrared
This
heat reflective.
is one of my favorite all-time products.
15
And
years.
when we're done here, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about it and why.
Heat reflective coatings that cool in all colors, not just white, for virtually any exterior surface, including walls, roofs, and floors or decks. Texcoat's patented infrared heat reflective technology is, on average, 100% more reflective than traditional paints and coatings in the same color, and leads to lower surface temperatures, enhanced durability, and extended fade warranties. The Texcoat Cool Wall exterior wall coating system is a patented, revolutionary infrared heat reflective coating that can provide cooling cost savings for both residential and commercial structures. The Cool Wall system is on average 100% more reflective than conventional technologies used in competing products, and can lower exterior wall temperatures by as much as 40 degrees Fahrenheit. According to a nearly 2-year study completed in 2005 by the U.S. Department of Energy's Oak Ridge National Laboratory, the Cool Wall system can significantly reduce exterior wall temperatures and reduce cooling costs by up to 21.9%. In 2010, the Cool Wall system was chosen as the exclusive exterior coating for 4 energy-efficient research homes built by the Zero Energy Building Research Alliance in cooperation with the Oak Ridge National Laboratory and the U.S. Department of Energy. The Texcoat Cool Wall coating system is available in both smooth and textured finishes and in over 570 heat-reflective colors. The Texcoat Reflectech system is a single-component, Kynar-based, field-applied coating system for metal roofs, metal walls, tile roofs, and ornamental metal. A revolutionary infrared heat-reflective coating that can reduce peak cooling loads for both residential and commercial structures. The Reflectech system incorporates industry-leading Kynar Aquatech technology, which contributes to its increased durability, superior fade resistance, and incredible resistance to dirt pickup, mold, and mildew growth. Reflectech is available in virtually any color and has 16 standard colors that are ENERGY STAR certified and CRRC rated. CoolTech is
Since I've been selling Cool Wall since 1999, I've built one roof.
New, worn, or
So
weathered
don't get excited about the
concrete and
Reflectech
wood
technology.
surfaces. CoolTech
About
can provide
floors.
reduced surface temperatures of over 50 degrees
No.
Fahrenheit, providing a much cooler walking
But-
surface that is barefoot friendly, even in darker
Pretty cool.
colors.
Yeah.
Textured Coatings of America's infrared.
They actually have a
reflective
graffiti
products are
product
making
also.
colors cooler
Oh,
in
really?
their walls,
Yeah.
roofs,
Which
and
is,
decks.
it's pretty amazing. So like in areas where there's high graffiti on the side of a building, you can spray this stuff on. And it's not like Teflon, right? But it's almost like a thin wax layer. So that when they use a special process to remove it, you have to have something that they sell you when you sell it. It's like a special brush or something that is hot, or they'll come out and do it if you get tagged. but it comes right off. It's really, even if it's severe, it's pretty amazing. All right, so Tex Coat of America is been around forever. It's originally they talk about in this video they talk about military applications and how it was originally kind of the precursor to this product actually being used to just hide heat registers, right? So similar stuff has been developed. Now you're like it's between like you know, you take something that's basic like paint and it has faults, and then you improve upon it, and then you come up with something that you didn't even think you were going to be using it for, and now you have this product, right? For me, if anybody's going to paint their house and they have stucco, they should just use Cool Wall. It's like a no-brainer. If someone is thinking about painting their home, do you know how much it costs? Anybody paint their house recently? Yeah? Licensed paint contractor, or just did it on your own?
That's pretty good.
And how long did it take you to mask and prep?
I was kind of sloppy, but yes.
All right, so if it's professionally done, you're talking about 2 to 3 days of prep, okay, for any house. What's 2 to 3 days? That's like 3 guys prepping your house for 3 days. Even if it's $10 an hour, right? That's $30 an hour for 8 hours a day. It's $250 just in labor, not including any prep materials. So it's $1,000 before you even start to do any painting at all, or primer. That's prep work for the average house if it's done properly. That means flushing out every crack, stuccoing every fill, filling every wood, every piece of wood that has an end that's splitting or has been exposed to the elements, right? So it's sanded, prepped, done. I'm not talking about like, did you mask around your windows? I'm talking about actual prep, right? And, you know, I've got people who told me, like, my neighbor said, oh, I got a guy who can paint the house for, it's like, $4 grand. Really? $4 grand to paint a whole house. Yeah. Listen, if I wanted college kids to paint my house, I would just have my kids do it. You know, I did my friend and his stoner buddies go play video games for a couple hours and wake up at 4 in the morning and, you know, start painting the house. Because that's what it's going to look like. You know, well, that's how, it's not going to be primer properly. It's not going to be prep properly. Anything. So this process is like 7 days long. It's like a 10-step process. The first thing they do is they're going to come out and they're going to trench all the way around the house. Anywhere where the stucco meets the ground, they're going to trench 6 inches to expose the layer that is touching the ground, right? Because there's a moisture issue. Once they trenched, then they're going to power wash the whole house. They're going to get every one of those exposed areas, all the wood, all the stucco, everything. It's going to be pressure washed. And that pressure, if you think about latex glove, right? Anybody who's painted stucco has basically put a latex glove on their home. Have you ever put a latex glove on that doesn't have the, they either have 2 ways. One that has like powder inside and one that doesn't. Why do they have powder inside? Because if you don't put powder inside, they stick because your hands sweat. And then it's almost impossible to deal with getting them off. You just have to tear them off, right? Latex is a moisture barrier. So you have showers, humidity from human beings, cooking, everything that goes on inside of your home all the time is generating moisture. There's a humidity inside the house. That stays inside of your walls over time. That's a minor thing, but it contributes to the overall mold, mildew, things of that nature that get into your walls if your house is not breathing properly. If they haven't painted their stucco, stucco works fine. It's breathable. The problem is that over time it deteriorates, it can crumble. It is exacerbated by being painted. The latex bond on top of that, what happens is the bottom, let's say 2 to 3 feet of a wall, if you walk around a house that has stucco that's been painted, you will see 2 things. One is stucco cracks, right? Every 16 inches on stud. you will have a crack because moisture gets up from the base, it's sucked up through the wood expands, and then the stucco cracks. Because the moisture can't get out because there's latex paint on the outside. Stucco cracks can happen even if they haven't painted their stucco, because stucco and wood expand and contract at different rates anyway. So if you've got a ton of water that gets into the base and up into the stud, it can happen anyway. It is more likely if they painted their house, or if the house has been painted. What happens when someone has an old house they're about to sell, or if an investor group buys a stucco house and they're about to sell it, what's the first thing they do?
Paint it.
With the what? Cheapest quality latex paint possible. Right? So, yeah, I just bought this house last year. It had a fresh coat of paint, and all of a sudden all this damage happened. Well, that's why. The other thing that happens when moisture gets stuck in behind the latex paint and into the stucco is it starts to crumble from within. Right? You will see entire either bubbling or tons of little called efflorescence, these little bubbles that go that just are like, Mike said it the other day, some people call it stucco cancer, right? I'm not a big fan of using the word cancer to refer to a wall, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got real life cancer issues in my family that I've had to deal with, so it's kind of a personal thing, but it is a very descriptive way to talk about what's happening to the house. And if someone said that to me, I would immediately understand how it's affecting my house, right? So use that term at your own discretion, okay? If it's technical, it's called efflorescence, and if you want to say some people call it stucco cancer, that's fine, you know. But the idea behind it is one of the things that destroys your home from the outside in, okay? It could even look okay behind the paint, and if you put your foot on it, the whole wall will crumble. All the stucco will just comes off like sand. It's not even being held together anymore. All right. This process with using Texcoat of America, then after they found all those cracks, those stud cracks every 16 inches, they go in and they put a product called Flex Seal, right, and Flex Bond. So there's two things. One goes into the crack and expands to fill the crack, and the other one goes over the top, okay, like a Band-Aid. So, yeah.
Is that the third process? You said there was a power wash, and is that the third?
Yeah, I mean, I can show you the 10-step process here. I don't know if it's on this, but I hate to say 10 things and not give you 10 things because I'm going off the top of my head here, but I appreciate it. Let's see if we've got the video from TCA.
How long did you say the cool wall lasts? Is it a lifetime?
Lifetime warranty.
Okay.
Hello and welcome. Your home is possibly the biggest investment you'll make in your life. In the next few minutes, we'll show you how easy it is to protect that investment, to keep your home safe from the elements, make it more energy efficient, even enhance and maintain its beauty without a lot of work or expense. All of this with a product called Texcoat Supercoat. It's time again to paint the outside of your home. But didn't you just paint it a few years ago? Yes. And you'll be painting it again in another few years, and another few years. Mother Nature takes a toll on the appearance of your home's exterior.
Average life of a paint job is like 3 to 5 years max. Before it starts to show signs of fading, peeling,
things to chip, flake, and peel.
Well,
since more homeowners today are staying in their homes longer, they're finding they're painting their home's exterior an average of 10 separate times. At a cost of up to $8,000 to paint your home every 3 to 5 years. Add in inflation, and a homeowner could end up paying up to $80,000 to paint their home over a 30-year time frame. $80,000?
I'd bid for $18,000 to paint my house.
Now, there's a better way to maintain the beauty of your home's exterior.
I have people come out to my house.
It's not vinyl siding or fiber cement siding. It's not even a paint. It's a revolutionary coating system that's so advanced it protects your home for a lifetime. It's Texcoat Supercoat. Texcoat was scientifically formulated and tested.
And this has now been rebranded as something called Cool Wall, all the same thing. Okay, Cool Wall.
Many times thicker than ordinary house paint, Texcoat can withstand an average of 40 years of exterior exposure, no matter how harsh the conditions.
Did you catch that?
40 years?
No, did you catch that picture?
Just look at how water goes through
you understand what you were looking at there?
Without Texcoat.
I didn't see it.
I saw a
Now,
picture, but I didn't
look at
understand
it
it.
after TexCoat was applied. What can TexCoat do for your home? Just look at these astonishing before and after pictures. From stucco to wood to masonry homes, TexCoat Supercoat can be applied to a variety of surfaces and in a variety of textures.
Many times thicker than ordinary house paint.
Come on. Can't pause it?
I guess just press the X button over there.
Coat can withstand an average of 40 years of exterior exposure, no matter how harsh the conditions.
Let's do it again.
Even moisture can for home the ultimate in beauty and weather-resistant protection.
Many times thicker than
It's this
ordinary
line.
house paint.
That's
TexCoat can
paint.
withstand an average of 40 years of exterior exposure, no matter
Like
how
20
harsh
to
the
30
conditions.
times the thickness.
Even moisture can't penetrate. Just look at how water goes through this surface without TexCoat. Now, look at it after TexCoat was applied.
Power washing
What can
does it.
TexCoat do for your
When
home?
we put that
Just look at
pressure
these
washer on it,
astonishing
it
before and
penetrates all
after pictures.
the whole wall.
Stucco, wood, to masonry homes, TexCoat Supercoat can be applied to a variety of surfaces
I
and
think
in
before
a
they put the
variety of
stucco,
textures.
like mine was built.
Whatever your home's exterior surface, our professional applicators
then they
will
put the
carefully
stucco on top.
and thoroughly
Yeah.
apply
They
TexCoat
keep that
using our
layer
exclusive
around.
10-step
They keep all the
process.
stucco, it doesn't all come
First,
off. They
we'll
just pressure
inspect your
wash it
home's
to remove
exterior.
a layer of
Inspection will reveal
any
any
loose stucco.
deterioration.
And also because the
Flaking
water's coming
and
out at a high
suspect areas.
PSI at a very fine
Second,
spray,
we'll trench
it's
around the
penetrating
perimeter of your
with
home where
10,000 per
possible.
inch. It's
This
ridiculous.
provides
It's like
full
they have a special
TexCoat
nozzle.
protection below
that
the
is
grass line,
only used
helping
by
to inhibit the capillary action of
for
ground
this industry.
moisture while helping eliminate costly repairs to the foundation of your home. Third, your entire home is cleaned using powerful pressure cleaning action to remove dirt, stains, loose paint, and foreign substrates.
You'll
It
see,
also
I've
removes
seen a whole
surface
side of a
mildew
house,
and algae.
like a 10-foot
This
section
cleaning
come
not only
down.
reveals
with a
areas
power
in
washer.
need of
All the
patching,
stucco.
but
just
it
falling
also
right off the
creates
house.
a clean, tight bonding surface for the TexCoat primer and
that?
TexCoat
Like that.
Supercoat top coat.
Jesus Christ.
But worse.
Deteriorated areas are prepared and patched using specially formulated TexBond, Flex Patch, or for more difficult areas, a skim patch is used. These products correct surface defects and create a sound and uniform surface for coating. Fifth, for the most professional looking job possible, careful masking is done to all areas that are not to be coated, like windows and doors. Bushes and shrubs near your home will also be covered to protect them from overspray. Sixth, the TexCoat primer is sprayed on using heavy-duty equipment that pressures up to 3,000 psi. This special spraying process creates a thick armor-like surface that protects the original exterior wood or masonry surface from weather damage. Seventh, your entire home is carefully inspected for quality and missed areas.
Usually we have to go back
Depending upon your preference,
the next
either
day
TexCoat texture
to
or
inspect
smooth
all the,
coating
to make
is
sure the
evenly
primer
applied
is
to
set.
the surface of your home.
And a lot of
This
times
scientifically
we're
proven
intending to put
adds
in more primer
exquisite beauty to your
and
home,
add to that section. So
providing a second barrier of
we
protection
can get started
against the elements.
on a certain
In
part of the
addition,
house.
finishes
So let's say there's like a
specially
north side
formulated to
where
reflect
for whatever
the
reason
and
the
can lower
primer
surface
hasn't set.
temperatures by up to 40 degrees
We'll add more,
compared to traditional paints in many colors.
We use
This
so much primer in
revolutionary
our
heat
house.
reflective finish
More than
produces a
some
longer
people use to
surface life
paint by
and the
3 or 4
best
times.
weathering and durability in the
It's
industry.
sprayed in at 3,000
It could
psi.
also provide
It's
energy
intended
savings.
to penetrate the
Ninth,
stucco
the masking
an
is
eighth to a
removed
quarter of
from
an inch.
all
It goes
areas.
in very deeply,
And then
there's like a
trim coat is
chemical
applied.
bond
Trim
that
coat
happens
provides the
between
same level
the
of high
colored
performance protection
external
as the
coat
rest of the
and the
coated
primer.
product.
So it's
And
not just
available
like
in both patent
primer and
semi-gloss
then
finishes.
seal
Like
on
the
top.
Supercoat finish, trim coat also contains reflective pigments to reduce fading. Finally, lawn, shrubs, and other
So when they
surfaces
do
are
this, it's not
free of
gonna be
debris.
necessarily
Your
the same
property is
color
clean,
of the
beautiful,
original house.
just like
Whatever
yours.
color you want.
Your newly coated home is protected against sun,
That's a TexCoat
rain,
primer.
fading,
Yeah.
chipping,
Yeah.
frost, snow, wind-driven rain, and moisture. We are so sure about TexCoat Supercoat systems that we back it up with one of the toughest warranties in the industry. Nothing else comes close. For beauty, selection, durability, and cost savings, trust the name that's led the industry in coatings technology since 1961. The name that's been used by architects, builders, and contractors around the world for over 40 years, protecting thousands of homes just like yours. Trust the name that's been used by such companies as Home Depot, Target, CBS Television, Coca-Cola,
and protects the famous Hollywood sign, the LA Coliseum, and some of the country's largest FAA towers. Trust the name of Texcoat. Choice is clear. The choice is Texcoat Supercoat Systems. It's the perfect protection for your home.
So you guys caught that Home Depot?
Yeah.
Right? What do you think they sell it there?
No.
Doubt it.
No, they don't.
Does
They used
anybody
it
else
on-
sell this?
No.
No, they used it on their building, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
They have how much paint inside of Home Depot?
Tons.
But how much of it goes on the outside? None. They're selling you paint they wouldn't even put on their own building. IKEA. Right?
Wow.
Also.
Really?
All yeah. Tons.
Target.
Jeez.
Yeah, all the Targets. I think Kohl's might be one too. There's a bunch. I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of them. They have all the buildings that they use that use them commercially. So, but for me, it's Home Depot is my favorite one. You know, because of what I just said. They want you to come by and buy their brand of paint, but they wouldn't even put it on their own building. Because they don't have to repaint again in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
So that's exclusive to our company?
What is
the
Texcoat?
Texcoat?
No.
No? Oh.
No, but only a certified TCA installer can install it. So it has to be specific people installing it, and only specific contractors can buy it. You have to be authorized to buy it as well. So there are, look, I know 5 companies just off the top of my head that are within 5 miles of here that offer Cool Wall. This one is not an exclusive product. It's not rebranded, it's not anything that would be separate, people can look it up. The difference is, most people are getting bids from paint companies. Okay? And while paint is great for certain scenarios, if you have a stucco house and you're putting latex paint on it, first of all, the truth is, paint used to be really pretty good. Used to last a really long time. Paint used to be, you could put it on the outside of the house in 15, 20 years. You probably wouldn't have a whole lot of damage. It would protect everything, you'd be fine. But EPA regulations required that paint change, that we remove lead from paint, right? That was a bonding agent. That was one of the things that made it durable. But it's also dangerous, right? So, you know, kids eat paint chips and got sick, and EPA removed the lead from it. So, but yeah, it used to last. Latex and water-based paints, or there's several other kinds. I mean, you can go to the paint store and find a bunch of different paints, right? And someone's gonna tell you that, you know, there's, you can find a product that's gonna do something different than like a regular latex paint. The difference is who's offering it, what are the warranties behind it, and is it better than this product that you only do once? Right? And the answer is, I haven't found, like in all the different, I love windows. I mean, I love energy efficient windows. I think they're, the reason why I love Texcoat and windows is because for me, when it's something you see out of, right? They're beautiful on the outside, they can change the whole appearance of your home. A window is a beautiful thing. It brings in light, which I love in my house. You know, it can be an architectural impact in your home. It can do a lot of things that an air conditioning system isn't, right? You don't find people going, oh, I got a new HVAC system, and it is. You know, it's like, it's box, a big metal box. You know, it's either on the roof or in the backyard. And it's like, I want to show you this. Let me look at this HVAC condenser, man. This thing is amazing, right? It's not a sexy thing, you know. Windows, they got some appeal. This product to me is like, the light went off when I saw this for me. I mean, I was like putting acid on metal that has been coated with it, or putting lighting stuff on fire, you know, and I mentioned this last week, and I think that this is something that has to be mentioned every time that you're offering this product. It has an insulation value because it cools the house, right? So if someone's asking you about insulating their home and doing energy efficiency products, this product can cool your walls as much as 40 degrees. 40. That is a huge impact. And it is a Class A fire rating. Which means what?
It's about 20 minutes more, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which means what?
Class A fire rating products means that it's not that they're fireproof, they will burn. But it takes about an additional 20 minutes for the wall to burn. For something that is 20 mils thicker or 20 times thicker than paint. Latex paint is combustible, right? It's not an accelerant, right? It's not going to cause something, but if you light it, it will burn, right? It'll shrivel up and it will combust. Whereas this won't. You put the fire right on it. I mean, in fact, in part of the demonstration, if you wanted to do a demonstration, there's this piece of wood in here that has, imagine that. I don't know if it's in this one or not. But here's a kit for Texcoat of America, right? And let's see. I think it goes like that. But imagine in somebody's house, be very careful, by the way. Doing a lot of mesh. Yeah, some of this stuff is freaking awesome.
So quick question, since we're not the only people who offer this textbook, the only thing that sets, or the things that set us apart are our warranty and then the entire process before we spray that paint on?
And the company, and the fact that we've been in business and have, a reputation. So, also, most people don't get, there's 20 times more paint companies than there are companies that can offer this. Maybe 100 times. You could just go look up paint in your phone book, or it's in your phone book still. All right, old guy. All right, so.
Can't believe you said one.
I know. That's all right. I asked my daughter to take a video the other day. She was like, all right. Or to film that. She was like, what? So if you guys want to see this stuff, you're welcome to. There's a lot of little things in here that I would show you. Let's try this. I'll pass out some.
Would we try to have that kit if we were going to see a Texcoat?
Yeah. So that is what goes on the wood. Just bend it. See how thick that is. And this is 3 different kinds. These are actual patch, and that's the one that goes on the wall. So pass that around with the wood. The reason we have this is because we also can use acid in the house and just put drops right on it and put it on the metal and it just disintegrates, right? Wipe it up with a towel and put it on here and it just sits there. Nothing happens. So
Wow.
just shows that, there's elements within rain that are corrosive to your home. They can eat away at even at metal. And you can light this on fire too. But I normally would basically do this one. Get some rubbing alcohol, right? Just put a quarter size and then light it. And it will just, you can put a little bit on this piece here, but this is kind of the 3 layers of stucco, right? So this is the main, then you have the primer, and then the cool wall. So you can see the thickness of it. Wow. You just run your finger over that, it's going to show you how. But look, this is also pretty cool. I don't know if I said to you, here, I'll just do this real quick.
You don't like something on fire?
No. Not today. Just gonna put a little water in here. Now, I haven't used this one, so I don't know if it's functional. Sometimes these things get banged around, right? But if you're talking to somebody about stucco cracks, right? And every 16 inches around one side of their house, they've got a crack. It's like 3 feet long, and you could take your tape measure out and go from, just measure out, hold out 16 inches and just go to the next one. Oh, you missed one there. There it is, right? All the way around that side of a house, you're typically gonna find where the water has gotten behind their stucco into their wood and has expanded enough that it's cracking the stucco every 16 inches. That's the first thing that people will see, that they know it's every 16 inches, so they know it's their stud. It's not just a random crack, right? So the question is, how does that happen? Well, stucco, obviously this is an animation or an exaggeration of what happens, but if it touches water, it will expand, right? So as it expands, it pushes out and breaks the stucco. Well, if your product is coated, this is just coated in the primer, right? There's nothing going to happen to that. It's sealed, okay? So if we can protect the sponge, which is super absorbent, and let's just see how much it wicks, right? I mean, it's the same sponge, right? If you're using one of these, make sure before you turn it over, that you squeeze it out. It will drip everywhere. But you just set the whole thing in there. Oh, leave it in there. I also use an aspirin, okay? An uncoated aspirin. If you break it in half, take one aspirin, break it in half. They're easy to break if they're uncoated. Put it inside of the primer, and use tweezers to drop it out. So just leave it in there for like 5 seconds till the bubbles stop coming out of it, and then drop it in the water also. Right? The whole idea is to show this is like your wood, and the aspirin is like your stucco. It's thicker, so you drop one piece in and leave it there, and then take the other piece and drop it in. You'll see it. Obviously, what happens to an aspirin and water. But again, it's about a slight exaggeration that illustrates the difference between having your home protected and not. Because remember I talked about the house breathing? This piece of stucco in here that you can see is coated on the top with Cool Wall. But it still breathes. So I can force air through it. If this was latex, it wouldn't breathe. All that air would be trapped inside, all the moisture would be trapped inside. So this little thing here, you can show 3 different things with it at least. So if you're trying to entertain someone, if you want to get them engaged in why the product is different, this one has a lot to show. So, any questions about what this is? Check that stuff out later if you want. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh yeah. Who wants to be a guinea pig? That's you.
Is that a part of the $200 that we will pay?
What's that?
That little kit right there?
Yeah, I don't. Sorry. Wish I could tell you. Diatomaceous earth. I think that's what I'm looking for. Oh, okay. Don't breathe near this.
Okay. I believe you.
Well, it's really light. If you breathe, I mean, I'll get my hazmat on. Actually, probably go ahead and stick your finger there very gently. Just feel how light it is. It's almost like nothing, right?
Yeah.
Anyone else want to try?
What is that?
Whoa, what is that? What the heck is it?
Okay, stick your finger in the water. That's even more interesting. It's weird.
It is weird.
Now, you try and explain to somebody how a product can protect their home from water, and you show them a sponge and aspirin and then have them physically touch this and put it in there. It's weird, right?
It's crazy, yeah.
It's like,
It's weird, yeah.
it's like,
No smell.
what, don't smell it.
No,
You don't breathe it.
You just inhaled it.
All of
It's
your fingers
very
still
fine.
dry or just
Yeah, it's still
Oh, man,
dry.
it's
I mean, I
dangerous.
wiped it off, but before that, it's still dry.
yeah.
all of your fingers?
Yeah.
Or just the part where you?
Not just the part where I.
The one thing
You
you
wanna
tell me
touch
not to
it?
do.
Are you sure?
I thought he meant don't smell that.
Then I have to go out.
I smelled it too.
We'll have to go wash
You gotta
your hands.
wash your hands.
Recommend washing your
No, I
hands.
have to smell it, dude. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
you just,
Yeah, that's what it is.
So, what?
Don't,
And
don't,
we might eat
don't
something
pick your
later
nose
that's
after that.
No, no, I didn't. So what?
I wiped off.
I'm just picking my teeth.
Okay.
yeah, look at, don't pick your nose.
Yeah.
Protect your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
super light. I mean, that's the thing that's startling a little bit, is that when you touch it, it almost feels like,
Like a cloud.
that's the only way to explain it. Like, you know when you touch vapor that there's something there because you see it. And that's kind of the same way, that if you put your finger in this without looking, you'd be like, all right, let me know when I'm touching it.
Yeah, you don't feel anything that
You
you're
don't-
touching it. Yeah, it's
you
like
don't-
air.
Yeah, it's like, it's pretty amazing stuff. So, there's names for all these things, look, you've got little jars of hydrophobic resin and perlite, and look, there's tons of stuff. If you wanna explain to somebody, like visually and tactile, there's very little. There's also these little cards here. This is just a piece of paper. You dip it in the water, and one of it is, half it's been, just like the sponge, half of it's been coated. And you know, paper and water just disintegrates, right? So this is just gonna turn to mush, and the other part will stay like that. So,
Is everything in that little bag, to display the Texco?
everything in this bag is for Texaco, yeah. So, and then there's, like, basic colors for stucco and for wood, right, so.
All those colors are energy efficient?
Yes, yeah, all of them are. Some are more energy efficient than others. Obviously, white is the most reflective color. We have a white Shasta white roof, it's the most reflective, but all the ones we offer are cool wall, cool roof, right, either way. So if you look at, I don't know, do you have one of these?
No.
On the back of that, there's like a description. We don't offer, you guys would get one of these when you're ready to be go in the field. Do you have one yet? Who's ready for an appointment that hasn't, you guys have had one, right?
No. I would have had an appointment, I'm sorry. But not with the pool.
No. Who's been dispatched an appointment that doesn't have one of these? Or who has been told they're gonna get dispatched an appointment? You guys ready? Did JR?
No, I haven't. No, I wasn't here Friday.
Oh, that's probably why.
I think it's the shirt thing with me, so I don't know.
You need to have
Alright.
Yeah, I think that's the.
This is for roofs. I'm just telling you that there's energy efficiency stuff to look at.
Oh, okay.
I can take this, I can keep this, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we get that.
Thanks for that. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
You know,
That's my partner has one.
Oh, your partner. Well, as long as your partner has one, huh? Who's your partner?
Anyway, look,
You?
I passed this out just so you can see, someone was asking a question about the reflectivity, right?
First couple of weeks.
Here.
Your partner.
So if you look at the back of this, the reason I'm pointing this out is because just like Cool Wall, Cool Roof has, the lighter colors have more solar reflectivity than the other ones. This is just an example that some of you guys probably should have had already anyway.
So let me ask, so it's the one that says energy efficient,
cool.
is there any, what's, is
They're just Energy Star rated.
there a regrade something?
No, they may be. I don't know, but we don't offer, this Supreme, right? So it's basically, and I really wouldn't even want to offer anything in the Oak Ridge unless I had to, okay? I prefer to stay right in this middle section here, okay? There's a reason for that. The True Definition has a nailing fin on it, not a nailing fin, a nailing bead, okay? Which is a huge selling point. The SureNail technology. Oak Ridge doesn't have that, okay? So I've asked the manufacturer to send me just the Title 24 compliant, which means they qualify for PACE funding, shingles, as well as only ones that have the SureNail technology. But because they want to sell more products, they always send out more than what you ask for. Oh, look at this. Here's 3 more. You know, so
That was on the test, hopefully.
This one doesn't do definition, but it's nice.
yes,
So this,
yes. Yeah. Anything on that page we can get. I wouldn't ever sell Supreme because it's a 3-tab shingle. It has no definition to it. It's a very architecturally uninteresting, and it's the same cost as the Oak Ridge. The Oak Ridge, again, I only wouldn't sell it because it doesn't have the SureNail technology.
If a person has a new roof,
Yeah.
maybe 6 years old, and they have tile,
Yeah.
would they have to re-roof with this material?
No. I mean, do they have leaks? Is that what you're saying? Is that why they're
There's
replacing?
no leaks. Maybe they just want more energy efficient roof.
Well, look, the reality is, what you would do on that one is probably offer a text code with the spray on the roof, the Reflect technology, right? That way they don't have to, if there's no leaks and they just want something more energy efficient, then we could just spray on a reflective coating for them. Okay, but the last time again, like I said, I've only done that one time, and it cost like $50,000 for that house. So, I mean, it was a big house, but, which is probably why they didn't want to replace the roof, and probably why they needed the energy efficiency, right? But it was a $50,000 job.
So that'll help protect those, the tile from breaking and chipping and all that?
No,
No?
no, but it will, excuse me. Hey, John. Hey, what's up? Yeah, sure. Okay. Late, right? Okay. No, no. Well, I mean, who's the finance company we need to go through? Well, it's possible that the PACE program, if we call them, can pull her original and still use it since they didn't move forward, as long as it wasn't more than 30 days ago. All right. Probably need to ask Kathy to pull it. What? Did you just say you tried calling Kathy before you called me? I am so hurt. No, it's okay. Look, I'm actually doing the part of the training class today, so just text Kathy or Slack and ask her to pull it up, and she will. Okay, well let me run upstairs then. Guys, take 5 minutes here. Be right back.